What you doing, Whit?
Isn't it obvious what we're talking about this week? We're talking about Harry Potter. Welcome to Wolf What a Mouthful. I'm Whitney.
I'm Taylor.
We're talking about Harry Potter this week. A delightfully, what some might find a childish topic, is something very near and dear to both of our hearts because it's a big foundation of why she and I bonded. So join us, please. Do you want to get us started, Taylor? Tell us why you love the Potter series so much.
Oh my gosh,
Get right into it.
It's magical. I know that sounds so cheesy, but it's magical. I mentioned in another episode that I really liked being transported into different worlds, but this one was just nothing like I had ever even dreamed of before. And it was so clever. And the life lessons involved, especially growing up, I mean, they're applicable all throughout life. And it sounds corny, but magical. It wrapped me in. It sucked me right on in. And I felt like I went to Hogwarts with them, which who doesn't want to feel that way if you're a huge fan? How about you?
Right. Well, no, go ahead and tell us like what your earliest memory of it is too. Like, how did you said the why, how did you get into the series itself? That goes hand in hand.
Yeah. So thank you for keeping me on track.
Segues.
Yay. My grandma, who we call Mimi, actually sent my brother and I the first book on audio tape cassettes.
Oh my God.
And
it dates this a little bit, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a lot. So my mom's car had a cassette player. And I remember exactly where we were on the 408, getting on to the toll road when we started, and the bum, 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 bum tune began, and Jim Dale with his calm, soothing British voice.
That ASMR voice these days.
Oh, so good. And he started in, and then he did all the characters' voices. So he wasn't just reading the book, he was acting them out. And I was sold. And then from then on out, we got the books, we got the audiobooks, movies, but that was my first memory. So thank you and shout out to my Mimi, who probably had no idea what she was getting us into other than it was popular at the time. And I was 11 when I read or listened to the first book, then read. And I was like, I could get my Hogwarts letter. I'm that age. So it was really, yeah. I love that memory. Makes me feel all warm and fuzzy.
It was your introduction to it, and like all the joy and everything that it's brought you since then, and what it's become.
Oh my God.
Over the past 20 years.
That also ages us.
But what was it? This is a sidestep here though. Jim Dale, didn't he hold like the Guinness Book of World Records for most characters done in an audiobook until they did the audiobooks for Game of Thrones?
You know what? I feel like a terrible Jim Dale fan because I didn't know that. But
I think he held that crown until
that would make sense.
Whoever read Game of Thrones did it. I don't know who did it for Game of Thrones, and I'm sorry, and don't come at me for this. We're not talking about Game of Thrones right now. That's another episode.
Yeah, that's another episodes.
You and I have a common tie-in. Sorry, I'm pet sitting this evening with all the animals in the room, and I'm finding out which one's going to go where. My grandmother on my father's side actually gave me the first book too. However, I didn't like them when she first gave me the book.
The biggest shock.
Huge. I know. This is anybody. I feel like I'm letting a lot of people down. Yeah. For those of you that know me and don't know this is huge. I did not like the first Potter book. Granted, I only got about a chapter in. So words like Deluminator and McGonagall and Dumbledore pissed me off as a kid because I was like, I can't pronounce these. I don't know what the hell I'm reading. Yeah, I was like, what is this? But my grandmother, who has always fueled that creative half of my brain since I was itty bitty, like this woman would give me quilt squares to play with to be able to like do different patterns and stuff. And
Sweet.
I just fed the fire for
Fuel the fire.
my imagination at a very young age. So in hindsight, she was doing me a big solid. I just was not receptive to it at the time. And I think I was 10 or 11. And then in 2001, when the movies started to get made, my cousins on Thanksgiving Day of 2001 were like, we got to go see this movie. And it was the very first one. And they're like, you're going to love it. It's about this kid. He does magic. We've read the book. It's so good. So I'm like, oh, that's what we're going to go see. Fine. So the three of us went, little preteens. And it's that, yeah, right. Little awkward Whitney. I'm still awkward, but
we all are. It's fine.
Yeah, we all are. Yay. We're talking about Potter on the internet. It's great. Look at the way I opened this episode. It's just, so 20 minutes into the movie, maybe not even, I think, it's when Hagrid actually visited him on the hut on the rocks. Hagrid. They were falling asleep. I was on the edge of my seat.
You guys flip-flopped.
The movie was fantastic. I felt something electric in my soul and my heart. And I'm like, this is huge. What is this? And I went home. I remembered I had that book. I yanked it off the shelf and I flew through it all in one night. And thus the obsession was born. And that was really exciting too at the time, because I finished one book. What do you want to do? You want to read the next one? Well, I had 3 more books after that I could still go pick up and read.
That worked out well.
Yeah. So I got my mom into it. When the first one came out, you said cassette on VHS tape. And I got her into it then. And then she and I, on long car rides to go visit the same grandmother that gave me the book, which is like a 5-hour car ride, we would, before we could take turns with me driving, I would read the books aloud. So you got the audio books with Jim Dale. My mom got this fool reading every
Jim Dale.
Boy, I was my mom's Jim Dale.
Aww.
There was at one point too. And what is it? When Cho and Harry kiss, when I read that in the book, I got so angry I cried.
Oh,
I'm reading the book to my mom across town and
angry
I cried.
tears.
She's like, it's a book. Shut up. It's not a book. It's real.
It's my life.
Yeah. It's the same thing. It was something completely foreign to, our young minds. It was magic and the thought of fitting in when you don't feel that you fit in anywhere else. And I don't know about you, but like I just said, I was an awkward kid. I'm still awkward now. It's just, I've learned that you let the dumpster fire keep you warm instead of trying to put it out. That needs to be on a t-shirt.
Nice. Our first merch.
There you go. First merch. So yeah, that was the big deal for me. That's how I got into it. So
I love that.
Did you go to any of the midnight, you were mentioning the midnight book releases? I forgot that was a thing.
So my brother was the one who wanted to go. I think it was for the Chamber of Secrets. And we went to, drumroll, Borders.
Oh, that Borders. Does not exist anymore. Does it? It doesn't exist anymore.
Not where I am.
Not in Knoxville either.
The movies we didn't do. You talk about being an awkward kid. I could be awkward, but I also was very anxious working on that still as an adult. But yeah, we did the midnight for, I believe, the second book. And that was really fun to see everybody. But after that, for my nervous Nelly self, I didn't do any of the midnight like movies or book releases after that. I know I got too anxious with the crowds, but yeah, it
is when I liked people. Mass quantities of people.
But it was, especially with the movies, no matter when you went in that chunk of like the beginning time period when it was released, even if you didn't go at midnight, you still had the crowds and you're still all gasping at the same time and stuff. It just wasn't as insane. So
it was the days before reserved seating at the movies.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That was nuts. But did you do any of the midnight stuff?
Yeah, I did. My first midnight showing was Chamber of Secrets. Um, my mom actually, like, this was one of my first cosplays, period. I'll post that photo too. Goes from delightful Hogwarts student to maybe not appropriate professor. So not sorry in advance for those photos that are coming up. My grandmother on my mom's side she knitted me a Hogwarts scarf for Gryffindor, which that's upstairs. I don't know why I didn't put that on. But yeah, this was my first little Hogwarts sweater.
It's so cute.
And mom made me this beautiful, like, black Hogwarts robe, and with like little frog clasps and stuff. And I have worn it for various like cosplays and stuff ever since. Actually, my 16th birthday, my sweet 16 was Harry Potter themed.
I love that.
It wasn't a fun, pretty party. It was Potter themed.
It was a magical party, a magical Potter party.
Yeah. My first book release was the Order of the Phoenix. Mm-hmm. I remember going to Barnes & Noble at night and taking photos with all these people. It was, it was many conventions. It was a lot of fun, and I missed those. I'd completely forgotten about it until you mentioned it earlier during our pre-record.
Now, when you took pictures of everybody, it wasn't on a cell phone.
Oh my God. No, disposable cameras. Not even digital cameras, disposable cameras. Those click and wind some bitches.
This has turned into a back in my day type of thing.
No kidding. Dial-up internet. I really thought I had a pen pal at one point that actually was the kid that played Oliver Wood. A friend of mine was like, I'm friends with him. And I still don't know to this day if she was telling me the truth or not. But if that's real, sup, man? How you doing?
Hey. Oliver Wood, actor person. Awkward.
So anyway, that was before, like, hella stalker days where you have a girlfriend that go, I know it, I met him at a bar. I only know his first name. I'll find him. You just dig there and find whoever you wanted on the internet. No, that was way before that. So reading the books and going into the movies, what is your favorite book and what is your favorite movie?
I would say The Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite book. I would say I also loved that movie. And I really liked The Goblet of Fire too. I say this all with, it was really hard to make a decision because I love them all. So it's kind of like picking the favorite out of your favorites. But I loved the time travel aspect of the third book. All of them were really interesting, but I feel like the third book, like, we're introduced to Sirius and that more of that backstory. And I thought the tournament in the fourth book, and of course the return of Voldemort, was just epic.
Powerful. 4 was the turning point.
It was heavier in a good way, if that makes sense, or life lessons that are continuing that actually do happen in this world too. So that's why I really liked, and who doesn't like watching Quidditch and dragons and all that? So,
and wishing that all of it was real.
I know. It'd be so fun.
We're in our 30s and we're still waiting for our Hogwarts letter to arrive. What was the most actually, I can probably tell you probably the most like memorable change in Goblet of Fire that is just the internet meme, and it's on TikTok and it's been on Vine and everything else, is Michael Gambon portraying Dumbledore.
Did you put your name?
Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire, Harry? Dumbledore asked calmly. Harry, put your name in the Goblet of Fire.
Harry shaking.
Oh, he's so aggressive with it. It's terrifying. I personally liked Michael Gambon as Dumbledore. And they switched him out in Prisoner of Azkaban. But I think Richard Harris was wonderful for Philosopher's Stone and Chamber of Secrets. I think when everything was young, it was innocent. It was before things started to get heavy. I think he played it great. And then you get Michael Gambon, who brings in the mystery to Voldemort. God, I can't talk today. Dumbledore, and all of the deceitfulness and everything that he's hiding from Harry for a few books. I think he was an excellent recast, which if you are just now joining this channel and or have never read or watched the Potter films, surprise, spoilers. You're about 15 years too late. Richard Harris passed away, I think, right after they finished filming Chamber of Secrets. So Michael Gambon was their recast for the rest of the series. And he was great.
Really good. He had a good job.
I know people that don't like him. I loved him. I thought it was great. Great. There's your drinking word for this week's game is how many times can Whitney repeat the same stupid phrase? College program.
Great.
Odd.
Theme park.
My favorite book and my favorite movie is Deathly Hallows, parts 1 and 2 for the films. I personally have, I think, a deep-seated issue with completion on anything. I will start art projects and I won't finish them. I will start books and I won't finish them. I'll start trains of thought and I won't finish them. I love when things come to a close and they do it so beautifully. I loved the Friends finale. Don't start. I loved Frasier's finale. I loved Endgame. I loved this. I love the close of Lord of the Rings. When things are tied up in just a beautiful little bow, it's so good. It's so satisfying. It does something. It's like putting in that last piece of a puzzle. I will finish those. And it's just that, yes, it's a giant sigh of relief. There's contentment there. There's a warmth. It's like being brought into the best hug you have ever gotten after not seeing somebody for a long time. It's like when you and I reconnected. I was like, everything feels right again. I mean, Deathly Hallows was the end of a journey. These kids were still in their teens, but they'd grown up. They had weathered so many horrible things and they made it through. Yes, there was loss, but it was life. The one thing I'm not happy about is the phenomenal speech that Harry gives Voldemort at the end of the book. That was just, first of all, Harry was sassy as hell, and I will fight anybody that says any different. And the way that Daniel Radcliffe played it was perfect. He had just the right amount of kickback and spice to certain things. He had the best FU speech for Voldemort when he's telling him how he's not going to win this fight. And they took it out. And they Thanos snapped him at the end. And I'm like,
that is exactly what they did.
Before the Thanos snap. That's exactly what it was. But I mentioned it actually on Facebook a while ago when I was rewatching the series. Why do you think that the Avada Kedavra curse, which is the killing curse, for those of you that don't know, again, if you're that deep in this, go away. Why do you think throughout the films, Avada Kedavra is portrayed differently throughout the films? Have you noticed that?
Like how
some will just drop dead, some will disintegrate, some it will take them a moment to take effect. Have you not noticed that?
Now that you're bringing it to my attention, I am, but I don't know. I didn't before.
A friend of mine, because I was like, why would this be so inconsistent? And a friend of mine gave a beautiful explanation for why she thought they did it this way, even though it may have been just a writing inconsistency for different directors and everything. Is that the intention behind each one is different. That's some malice, some is defense, some is in the moment, and it's quick. And how it affects the person that it attacks. And it's just
brilliant. Oh,
I loved it. I thought it was so good.
That is really good.
But yeah,
good job, friend of yours who said that.
Yeah. Yeah. That
Can you
is
tell by my eyebrow crinkling?
Kate.
I'm like
Great.
feeling it. Jeez.
Mhm. Yeah.
Aw.
I loved that one. Going from, the movie continuance, Fantastic Beasts, what you think? Like it for it?
Yes, like it for it. I watched it with you for the first time.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And I was on one end of the couch, like holding a pillow going, yes, I'm for it. I think it's great. We were talking a little bit in our pre-show, our warm-up, about how we want to have like a deep dive, like we had the details in the previous books.
Rowling is responsible for the a good hunk, if not all of the scripts. So all of that information is floating around up there, but you get, her books where she's got 20 pages devoted to how certain things are laid out, like the details of Hogwarts Castle or the Ministry of Magic. And we have all of the Americas to cover in Fantastic Beasts, like Ilvermorny and Mercusa and everything. And we don't know all of that like juicy backstory to any of that. And I want that. I want to know why there are certain things that take place. And I now know it's a familiar feeling and I don't like it, but it's how I felt going into the first one, not knowing anything about what is going on. But I have the grasp of what's happening now. I just don't know all the little details that are sprinkled in. And
right.
I'm not gonna know, and that drives me nuts.
It's kind of like when you have a good picture, but then you hit the enhance and all the colors are vibrant and just really rich, and it just completes it.
You appreciate it more.
Hopefully she's spent quarantine.
It would be nice. It would be very nice. I mean, we've got 2 movies out of, I think they're doing 5, and they're spanning the course of 26 years. I think the rumor is that it's going to end at Voldemort's departure from Hogwarts.
Okay.
Rise of Power. So.
Oh, I just got goosebumps. I hope that is real. I hope it is.
Yeah, me too. Eddie Redmayne.
Oh my gosh.
Eddie Redmayne. The casting could not have been better.
Yeah.
For anybody. Ezra Miller, the sisters, which I'm blanking on their names. I'm so sorry, but Queenie in particular, Queenie and Jacob.
Really quick.
Oh my God. Queenie and Jacob are as relationship goals. They're so precious. Maybe not in the second film, but they're that kiss in the rain.
I know. Okay, so Queenie was Allison Sudol, Sudol.
Okay, that'll be one of our photographs for this week on Instagram. As we'll give credit to those actors that we can't remember the names of.
Yes, we got one, but for whatever reason, not loading the rest, and I'm a little bit mad.
And then you get the twofer that is Colin Farrell and Johnny Depp as our prize character, which these are more recent. We'll try and be delicate here. Yes. I personally loved Johnny Depp. Mm-hmm. I understand why people were not a big fan of his, just because they don't see this character. They see Johnny Depp playing this character.
Yeah.
I know Johnny Depp's character actor, so I can see him as Jack Sparrow. I can see him as the Mad Hatter. I can see him as this.
Yeah.
I compartmentalized that way, and I loved him.
Yeah, I thought he was fine. I thought he did a great job. So.
And we're not going to talk about the controversy that is Johnny Depp's departure from this role. We are going to talk about the recast. They have recast Mads Mikkelsen in this role, and I apologize if I have mispronounced his last name. I don't care. The man is fantastic. He was in Rogue One. He was Caecilius in Doctor Strange, and he's anything the man plays, it just turns to gold. It's great. There you go. There's another one. It's great. I love him. And there is a doctored photo that somebody did for like fan art floating around online. I'll find that one too, where they've put him in like with the hair and the contact lens, and it's just So
Yay.
there it is again. Great. I can't break it.
It's okay. People are just getting drunk while watching.
Drunk. There is a television show in works. It is a Harry Potter project. We don't know what it is. We don't know if it's reimagining from the movies because everything's being redone. I don't knock it. It's my paycheck too. So I'm working on reboots and everything like that. Awesome. Almost did it again.
Grossum.
Grossum. There's more merch. Grossum. And my stupid computer keeps going dark. I'm sorry, you guys. We don't know anything about the project. We don't know where it's being filmed. The only thing I think that's been announced is that it's going to be Game of Thrones-esque, which in my mind means each season is a book, every episode is a chapter.
And I really hope that for those of us who have parts from the movies that we're missing, that we wished were in the film, I hope. Thank you. Like, ask somebody who, or you might be that somebody who's only seen the films, not knocking you, but do you know who Peeves is? No. Are you missing out? Yes. Read the book or listen to the audio books. But I think if that is what they're going to do, have a series, each season be a book, each episode a chapter. I hope they get all those nitty gritty details because they'll have the ability to. So fingers crossed that rumor is accurate and more than just a rumor. And we get all the
either way, we're getting more stuff, man. And she swore, she's like, I'm not writing any other Harry Potter stuff. And then later on we get Cursed Child. It's a part of your employment. Let's talk about the theme parks. This doesn't count. That was last week's word.
So part of working in the theme parks, I got the opportunity to be a part of the opening night / morning cast. So they had Hogsmeade villagers. They actually had costumes that were used in the films. A lot were worn by extras, and we got to wear them. And I sent you a photo, and what I'm wearing in that photo was used in one or some of the films. And I say this with love for the opportunity. They were not allowed to wash them. We all stunk so bad of other people's BO.
There's the vodka trick. The vodka trick would have come in handy.
Yeah, exactly. They did not do the vodka trick. But anyway, the evening before in Hogsmeade, they did a media press night, and the stars were there, and Joey Fatone was one of the guests. And
what? That's right. Well, he's a Florida native, so
yeah, and he had his wand in his back pocket. So I remember walking up to him in a British accent saying, "Careful with your wand in your back pocket." He was so drunk and having a good time. He was like, "Huh, what?" And I was like, "Never mind." But precisely 15 minutes, these invitations flew from the sky, from the top of the buildings. And I don't know.
Shut up.
Yeah. So, dear distinguished guest, and it was, we request your presence at the Hogwarts Grand Opening Ceremony, which is to commence in precisely 15 minutes at the castle gates. Minerva McGonagall, Deputy Headmistress. And it was the whole castle show, and Ron and Harry, Daniel and Rupert driving the car, and Mr. Weasley
Ford Anglia
car, and it getting out, and it was really, really great. It was fun. I don't know if you can see it with the way the light is, maybe not.
Yes.
So this was in Ollivanders, and this was the morning event, but all of what I'm wearing is the costume that I was describing, and we all got to wear different things, which was so cool. It was so much fun. We were roaming around, just kind of creating atmosphere, and I'm not going to name my coworkers' names at the time because I don't want anybody to. I'm talking about my experience, but their experience is theirs, and if they're still employed there, they don't want to get in trouble. Not that I'm sharing anything bad. It's just a real warm, fuzzy feeling story. But
we're trying to be kind here and disrespectful. So
exactly.
Just respectful, not disrespectful.
Yes.
It's great.
So we're roaming around, and it's the evening event, and it's June. It's really hot outside, and they needed some actors to be roaming around in honeydukes. They're like, hey, can you go? And I was like, I'm not going to complain. It's air conditioning. Sure, I'll go roam around for a second. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of like you go at your own pace. And I go into the shop, and all of a sudden I turn around and Daniel Radcliffe is right there. He had just come in from the red carpet, and somebody was handing him a towel. And I'm just standing there like, don't say anything stupid. Don't say anything stupid. And he was just, oh, wow, it's really, really hot out there. And I was just like, yes, it is, but you made it. You're good. All this in a British accent, of course. And he just looked up and he was like, yeah, I did, didn't I? Thanks. And have a good night. It was really, it was such a simple interaction. There was nothing like, fantastical about it. But
you will never forget it.
I'll never forget it. And just the genuine, like, I'm just an actor at a theme park, and he knows that. And he comes, and he was just so nice. And he didn't have to be. And he was so, so kind. So that was really fun. And I wrote down that I met him on one of the invitations that I got. And it was June 16th, 2010. Spoke with Daniel R. Remember this feeling. It was
That's right. It was June.
Yeah. So those poor
middle
guys
of summer,
coming from not Florida at all. I just felt so bad because it was hot even at night. But that next morning was insanely packed and busy.
What was it? An hour wait once you were inside Islands of Adventure? That line snaked all around the entire interior of the theme park. For those of you that don't know, there's Universal, and then a block down on the same boardwalk is Islands of Adventure. Hogsmeade, which was the first park to open, is inside Islands of Adventure up here in the back, right here next to this finger. And your entrance is down here next to this finger. And there's a lagoon in the middle, right here around my palm. And that line, so stupid, snaked all throughout the park. 10-hour wait once you inside the park to get into the land.
And if you go down to your opposite elbow, that's City Walk, and that's where
draw the map right here.
Hello. It was insane, especially because they made it so quaint in there. I mean, it's beautiful, but it is itself.
The sizing is not, because typically with a theme park everything's very open. They stuck with theming. Like Ollivanders can hold 10, 20 people tops at a time. This was pre-COVID.
Yeah, I was gonna say pre-pandemic. Yeah, and
it is not. The shops are tiny, and
which for the theming is brilliant. And I think because at first they pitched it to Disney. And no offense to Star Wars, but you see Darth Vader and stormtroopers coming down with Mickey ears on. She didn't want that to happen to Harry Potter. And thank goodness that Disney thing didn't work out, because Universal was able to scoop it up. Well, that saved Universal. It really did.
It goes back. It really did. It goes back, which we've got another fun statistic there too. It goes back further, though. When the books were being picked up for movies originally, Disney wanted to make it an animated movie. And she goes, no, I don't want that. I do not want cartoon. I want it to be real.
Yeah, good for her.
What was it with Universal before Potter opened in the land? Please get down. Okay, thanks. Like a merchandise on a day-to-day basis per guest was like $50 a day.
Yeah, it was
$50 per guest per day was kind of like their revenue at that point.
That's a lot of money.
I think that was what?
That's a lot of money to me, but to them it's not.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at it with like, food and maybe your basic souvenir. Yeah. You buy a sweatshirt and a hat with tax, that's $50. But with Potter, when that opened with the wands, the robes, all of the the souvenirs that you could take home with you that day that weren't food related, $200 per guest.
They
shot through the roof.
I can't remember the amount of time it took, but it was a ridiculously short amount of time. Butterbeer sales alone, they were fine financially from building everything and all that. One thing where I'm kind of hopping over to Diagon Alley, they had, which it was before the lands started being built, but they had an apartment complex there. And I think they still do. I forget what it's called, but I actually looked to live there and then realized how expensive it was and went, no. But I also don't want to live right on top of where I worked. But
no,
I wish we were able to buy them back and actually turn it into the Leaky Cauldron Inn, because they would make bank on that. And
it's like Cinderella's castle. You could like select people at random to stay a night.
Exactly. But I mean, who knows? Maybe somebody who was paid more than me and smarter than me already pitched it, and there's a reason why it didn't happen. But I always thought that would have been a really cool idea. So
for those of you that don't know, Diagon Alley used to be was it, oh my God, Amity? Jaws.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Dun, dun, dun.
And that ride was so janky, but that was Bruce still stands, which is the shark from Jaws that they have hanging by his tail. And it's now, well, at least when I was there last, it was on part of the boardwalk near where like Fast and Furious is now, where that big eatery is right across the way.
Yeah, I think they were updating him. They were painting him, sprucing Bruce up, but I don't know if he's back yet. But that was just fun to say, sprucing Bruce.
What is your first? So, okay, you worked opening for Hogsmeade. That was your first memory there. What's your first memory of being in Diagon? Because you didn't work anything for that, right?
I did. I got lucky enough to do that one too. And we did the evening event. I don't think we had anything for the morning, but for the evening event, they had us there. And we actually had a dialect coach for that one. And I remember being in the Barney venue in the stage. And
that's what you're talking.
Yeah, and they had all of us. I mean, I have this paper's so old. Like all the vocal notes and just like pages of how to say different things. I feel terrible because I never pronounce his name. Domhnall Gleeson, the guy who played Bill.
Domhnall?
Yes.
Gleeson?
See, you can pronounce it. I can't.
Dude, I was an obsessed fan at one point. He's also in Star Wars.
Yes.
General Hux.
So much. About Time is another good movie with him, but that's another episode.
Oh, yeah.
Rachel McAdams, too. Yeah. He was there for that evening event because, of course, the Gringotts ride he's a part of. And I was just, again, I didn't get to talk to him or anything like I did with Daniel, but it was really, look at me, Daniel, Mr. Radcliffe. We're not friends. I don't want that to sound like I'm being more than what it was.
You didn't call him Dan, you're fine.
I did. Danny boy. The opening was just really, really cool. So do you want to try some fun English test sentences?
Yes, and I'm also going to just really embarrass myself too. Sorry.
Okay, so I need this job. Give me a chance.
I need this job. Give me a chance.
There you go. I'll give you a chance.
This is why I don't do acting.
I'm not going to do an accent. I want to hear yours. Joe, we've been looking for you since Friday.
Is in Cho Chang?
No, Joe. Like
Joe.
Joe.
Joe, we've been looking for you since Friday.
There you go.
I don't know what that was.
Funny aside about Cho Chang. What is that thing called on TikTok? I'm sounding so old, but where it's like a face morph, like whatever character you look like.
The shapeshifter.
Shapeshifter.
Y'all.
Look at Whitney and
the shape-shifting effect on TikTok. Yeah, look at us.
And we're going to say it at the same time. What character we got that we look like most? Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Cho Chang.
I mean, she's
also love that you did 3, 2, 1 and I did 1, 2, 3. Yeah, for some stupid reason, not one of the Malfoys.
That's surprising.
Not the Weasleys. Cho Chang.
The Weasleys. Should I share?
Oh my God. Yes. Share about the twins.
Okay. So I forget what happened. Is it LeakyCon that happens at Universal? There's some Harry Potter event that happens there. Do you not know about this?
There's the convention that happens at
least pre-pandemic when I worked there, which was a while ago, there was.
Hey, stop.
And anyway, I was over being a feisty redhead one day, and our attendant all of a sudden was like pulling out her compact and freshening up her makeup. She was a huge Potter fan too. And I was like, what the heck is she doing? What's going on? And of course, I'm like looking over at my two set partners. I'm like, what? Do you know what's happening? And all of a sudden, our line is totally cleared. I'm like, this never happens. And these guys walk up and they have like an entourage, a group with them. And I will find the photo for you so you can post it.
Yes, please.
It is a guy who looked like Neville Longbottom. Was not him, just one of their friends, but definitely could have been a stunt double. They were the Weasley twins that came up for a picture. And for the chatterbox that I wound up being, I was speechless. Please tell us about your Diagon experience. And oh, look at that tattoo behind your ear.
So can you see it?
That.
Yeah.
Hey.
This is not Triforce. I get that a lot. Love your Triforce tattoo. Get out. It was my first tattoo. And I'm desperately looking for a charging cord. Granted, it's 20%, but I'm like, it's soon.
Oh no.
We're nearing the end of everything. We're good. Yeah. My first experience at Hogsmeade was the soft opening, actually, when you could actually walk through the land, but not everything was open and they still had like black curtaining over a lot of things that were unfinished. I went in there with, at the time, a very dear friend and a guide, who will remain nameless just for respect, that knew what a fan I was of all of it. And just, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I couldn't believe that something like this was coming to life. And my first entrance into Hogsmeade, the first thing I remember when it actually opened was Ollivanders. Oh. And I was in, again, what we mentioned earlier, Ollivanders is tiny. It is beautifully themed. It looks exactly like it has been plucked from the film and just dropped into real life. Hi. And you're in there with like, I mean, you know, kids and their parents, they only let in so many at a time, and they choose one to have the wand choose the wizard. And this was brand new. Like, there's no way they're going to pick me. I'm in here with all these kids, and I'm like the one schmo of a 23-year-old in a Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix t-shirt. And the wand maker picked me. And I'm like palming a 5-year-old in the face going, beat it, bitch. And I'm getting to the front of the line going, this is me.
I'm the chosen one.
I'm the chosen one. Hermione smacks me on the head with a map. And it is a full-blown experience. They have you do like the cursed spells that don't work, and like they wilt the flowers or make, you know, the thunder and lightning go off. And then there's the one where you pick up the wand and everything swells and the music swells and the lights come up. And it's just, like my heart's fluttering just thinking about it. I was
gonna say, I can see you getting all the feels.
Just the emotions. And this was my wand, which you all saw me just wearing as a mustache at the beginning of the episode. It is 15 inches. It is birch. And I believe the core is phoenix feather. And I have a small wand collection, which back here you can kind of see.
There they are.
There's some character wands. There's some limited edition ones, which I didn't know was a thing, in there as well. But this was my first this is the one that I will always hold the dearest to me. That was my first big introduction into Hogsmeade. And Diagon, when I came back to visit you, with my best friend, we went to see, sorry.
This is my show.
For some reason, he loves chewing on the wand. I don't let him chew it on it very often, but
He saw it.
that's an idiot. He's just so strange. Just a vocal cue. Like, don't talk to me like I'm not here. Diagon, that was a trip with you and my friend, and I'll put the video on Instagram, but coming around the corner and seeing the dragon breathe fire on top of Gringotts, I knew I'd seen photos. I'd seen everything, like watching the dragon get flown in and placed and all that, but actually being in there, being immersed.
Yeah.
It's just, I get so emotional, baby.
The detail that they did in there, like everyone who worked on that just did such an incredible job, because I mean, so many people like ourselves had such strong emotional reactions and still are to this day. And that's a big deal.
Well, all of that being said, what is probably your favorite memory across, all Potter, whether it be any medium? What is something that sticks out and just makes the series for you?
One of the biggest things was, even though friendships can go through hard times, seeing those three be together at the end and make it and still be there for each other. I was like, that's real life. That's real-ish. And that, I don't know. It just, I really think that's beautiful. I also, there's just something really magical, really great about, when you go into the Hogwarts castle ride for the first time and you just are in the castle and you feel like you're there. That feeling, I could never recreate that, like, gasp of, oh my gosh, these portraits are like, it really does. And there are so many great memories. Every time I hear the tune, or just somebody interviewed or talking, and even if I don't see, I just hear, I'm like immediately brought back to that time period of like, yes, I'm in it. So I don't know if that really answers the question, but
it does. I mean, it's a feeling. It all is. And for me, I feel like you relate to something no matter what age. I mean, when we were kids and we started reading it, we saw it from a child's perspective of fitting in, of this magical place where you belong. And then as you get older, you go through hardships with the same kids and you can still relate to them. Even as adults now, we can still relate to it, whether it be the child aspect, or you're finding more of a common ground with, the Weasley parents or one of the professors reaching hardships or something. It's an onion. You find all the different layers as you get older. And for me, it's the milestones, because I remember getting that first book. I remember when I fell in love with everything. I remember how I felt when I first saw the films, when I went to that first midnight opening, when I first got into the land. My husband proposed to me in the wand shop in Diagon. And it's things like that no matter what happens in 5 years, 15 years, everything like that is always going to hold this warm, heavy weight in the most positive sense. And it's going to sit in that chamber of secrets right here in my heart. And it'll always stay there. And it's just things that you'll never forget. You're going to carry them with you for the rest of time. And that's huge. It's massive that it's a piece of literature that can completely shape somebody as a person. And again, I have it tattooed on my body, for God's sake.
Yeah.
It's and for those of you that don't know, it is the Deathly Hallows symbol. It is the elder wand, the stone, and the cloak. And it represented something very personal to me at the time that I got it. And that started everything. We also talked about in our pre-record earlier that I have a Disney tattoo that we didn't talk about when we talked about Disney in the college program. And I have a Marvel tattoo that we didn't talk about when we talked about Marvel for the first time. So we'll go back to all of those. But yes, Griffin dork. It works out great.
You had asked me what wand I had, and I was like, oh, I gotta take the quiz again because I don't remember. But my comment was, I now understand why I'm put into Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff, which is why I will always say Ravenpuff. Because my comment to you was, couldn't like my core be made out of churros or something? That would be really good. Hufflepuffs are near the kitchen. This is why.
Hufflepuff for you, it's the food.
Yes, but that's not a thing. A churro isn't a core, but how fun would that be? You just said that so beautifully. Recommendations of the week for you. What would you recommend? I know there's a lot, but
other than the series itself, and if you can get to the lands and everything, but by far my biggest recommendation is Ollivanders. You need to experience that. If you are chosen for it or not, it doesn't matter. You need to see that firsthand, either it be from a child that has no idea what's coming or an adult that has done it 5 or 6 times and still cries every time they're picked. It does not matter.
And they are still doing it. They're doing it in a pandemic safe way. So
good.
It's still a thing. So
good.
That magic hasn't gone.
What about yours?
Jim Dale, the audiobooks. If you get a chance, I think I do not have an Audible subscription, but I believe that they're on there. Mine are on CD and cassette. So I'm just going to time travel with my little time turner there and listen that way. We had a viewer, recommend. This viewer and I used to work together. We were on a break and we went over to Diagon Alley for breakfast, and he wasn't brave enough to eat the black pudding, but he gives kudos to anybody who is. But he says that Otter's fizzy orange juice is the best theme park drink of all time. I have not personally had it. So when we go next, we'll have to try it. Okay. And maybe that would be so fun. I'm going to name you Nathan. Maybe if you're in town.
Yes, please. You
guys can finally meet and then we can all have that together.
We've been Facebook friends for years and I've not met this man.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like pumpkin juice, for those of you that read the books, they have pumpkin juice in the parks. It's really good. Cool. Tastes like fall. It's wonderful. And of course, butterbeer, doesn't matter if it's frozen, doesn't matter if it's not frozen. It is still absolutely fantastic.
I will always drink the frozen. You can have
me too.
The non-frozen you like.
Yep.
Frozen for me.
I don't know what it is that tastes differently. I mean, it's like having a slushie versus regular fountain drink. I don't know. It's still good. Think about it. Think about how Coca-Cola tastes in like the little slushie form versus the regular slushie all the way. All the way.
But Whitney's going to post some pictures that we have gone over comment wise in this episode. Please continue to follow us on YouTube to keep up with our episodes as we learn and grow, and leave a comment below. We would love to have more interactions, like we had a recommendation or a tip from Nathan. So feel free to chip in as well and hit the subscribe button. Whitney, what's our Instagram? You're in charge of that. I'm not even going to pretend that I do any of that work.
Instagram and YouTube, you can find us at Woof, What a Mouthful. You can also email us if you so desire at woofwhatamouthful@gmail.com. If you want to give us any, recommendations for upcoming episode topics, or just want to comment on our video and tell us you're getting there, champ. We'll take any. Right.
I also remember lap bars on the Tower of Terror.
Maybe it was a lap bar, man. I don't know.
It's changed to seatbelts for sure, but the fact that somebody validated my lap bar thing makes me feel good. So
good.
But yeah, that was the point. Email us if you'd like to.
Yes. And stick with us. We are going to be posting. It went dark. We're going to be posting on Instagram next week, but next week we are going to take some time off. Our next episode will be on May 8th. I'm pretty sure that's 2 Saturdays from now, but my screen went dark. We're going to take a break just to kind of reflect on how this has gone for the past 4 weeks and get the next 4 topics up and running, make notes and print them. So I'm not dealing with this crap every like 10 minutes. This was Potter, and the Lord knows there's going to be a part 2 on this at some point too. So,
absolutely.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Thank you for watching and listening. And like a beautiful bookend, Whitney's wand stash. Bye, guys.
Bye.